Steve Wagstaff. Welcome to Motivation 101.
Motivation 101, your weekly reminder that greatness is built one choice, one action, and one moment of courage at a time. Well, partner, Merry Christmas!
To you as well, and soon sailing into the new year. My goodness, going quick.
So fast, people. Another year, another bountiful, prosperous for everyone.
Absolutely.
And another week, another great episode. Why motivation fails and what actually creates consistency. It's a great topic that every listeners or viewers will be empowered for sure.
We need it heading into 2026 for sure.
Yes. 2026, according to Chinese horoscope, is the horse. Year of
Ah,
the horse.
the year
Oh.
of the horse. I don't know.
Yes, and today is the year of the snake.
Ah,
Snake and the horse. Oh my goodness. What is your year, Mr. Steve? Are you year of what?
1977? But you mean birthday?
Yes, I
Month?
think you're year of the rabbit or something.
June? Uh,
June. Well,
June?
let's see that and find out later. But
Yeah.
today, our topic is something good. So, Mr. Steve, why do most people rely on motivation despite of its unreliability?
Hmm. I think motivation feels good, right? Like
Hmm.
we can work up motivation. It's emotional. It can be energizing. I don't know. It gives us the illusion that we've got momentum moving before any real work is ever done. I don't know if that's how you feel. When I think of getting motivated, you can talk yourself into motivation and then, but it feels like you've already done something when the real work hasn't even started yet. So I think motivation's a good thing, but to rely on motivation long term for long term structure and accomplishing goals, I think sometimes motivation wanes, and when it fades, we need to have other systems in place for sure.
Yes, definitely. People sometimes motivation is a fickle and fleeting fuel source. Mistaking it for an engine is why so many our best intentions stall. So, Mr. Steve, tell us what habits survive in low energy days? Just like, oh, this is not my days. I'm not motivated. Give me a motivation. Sugar. Is
That's
it
what I'm
sugar
feeling.
is your motivation?
Yeah. Well, sometimes by about 4 o'clock, if I haven't eaten right, triggers my motivation. Um, I think habits surviving low energy days. Um, I don't know. I think I think habits are formed over time. So
Yes.
when something stands the test of time, uh, I think we can automatically fall back on it because it's become ingrained in us. Um, I think that's why there's obviously good habits, and then everyone. If I said right now, what's one of your bad habits? Well, we would all be able to name something. Why? Because um, that's the very term of it. Habitual. It's something that our body almost does without the brain telling it to. And so I think on those low energy days, I think we need to learn to rely on uh, habits. And I think they're so important that we build them in not only to our lives, but to uh, the the generation that's coming behind us, right? The work ethic, the habits that have survived the test of time. What's the type of things to teach our children? to teach others that look up to us, so that when that dopamine hit disappears or that motivation, everyone's thinking about let's accomplish this, and then all of a sudden, it's rainy and gloomy and no one wants to go out and do it. You can then fall back onto habits. I think good habits what I'd say a steady horse to ride.
Yes, certainly people habits for me survives me in my low energy days because I did creating lots of podcasts. So
Mm,
sometimes you are overwhelmed, but because of my habits early in the morning to do all these things, preparing all the topics, editing, publishing, it's my habit. So
mm.
even if I'm in a low energy days, because of my habit, I survive. Oh, thank God, habits. Thank God.
Yeah, we're so used to hearing bad, right? We
Mm,
think we always I think if you were to ask, I don't know, like a Family Feud question, when you hear the word habits, put the word before it, I think
mhm.
I think we would probably say the word bad would be the first thing that comes to our mind, bad habits, but
Yes.
I think we have so many good habits that, we either don't give ourselves credit for, or we don't stop to recognize that that's truly what they are. They're just ingrained into what we do. And so when we lose our focus, our bodies kind of automatically tell us what we need to be doing because we've been doing them for so long. So habits are good,
Yes. It must be a good habits, people, not a bad habits.
good habits. That's right. That's what we
Good
need. Yeah.
habits. And I said, thank God I have a good habit that
Mm,
every day survive me.
mm.
And Mr. Steve, how can structure replace willpower?
Um, well, I think structure removes like the daily negotiation you have to have with yourself. You don't have to debate. It's just you're you know how to execute it, right? You
Mhm.
don't have to pump yourself up or tell yourself, okay, I gotta build this amount of energy up so I can just go out and do it. I think it provides that structure, that framework that we need. Um, and I think like I don't know, a well-designed environment can help maybe nudge us towards those behaviors that automatically get us moving in a direction without a lot of effort. So I think surrounding ourselves with, you know, uh, a good, well-designed environment um, that can help us when those motivation is lacking. We've got everything. We don't have the excuse that it's not at our fingertips or we can't go to it because we built we built it around us, and so we don't get to make that excuse. That's why I think that's important.
Yes, I think. And one of the structure of being successful is consistency.
Mhm.
Consistency, people, is created by replacing the question, do I feel like it?
Yeah,
With
yeah,
a structure of atomic routines by designing an environment that makes the right action is the easiest action, and by shifting your identity from someone who wants to do a thing to someone who simply does that thing.
mhm.
That's a good structure, people.
Oh, absolutely.
Consistency. Ah, one of the key ingredients to success, consistency, people,
Mm.
in everything you do. So, Mr. Steve, why is discipline understood as a restriction rather than a freedom?
Uh, I think again, we've made the word discipline to be a bad word in our society, and it's not. Like Like discipline is one of the greatest things that we can not only master in ourselves, but that we can teach others so that, um, yeah, so that we can accomplish those things. I think uh, we need to tie habits to our identity, um, because that way we can tell this is who I am. This is the discipline I have, as opposed to this is what I'm trying to accomplish, or this is what I have to do. Like those are two very different statements. So I think tying our habits to our identity, as to this is who I am, and is much better than trying to say this is what I do or what I have to get done. I don't know. It's one thing I try to teach myself to do is my disciplines, my structures that I've created. I like to say that's who I am, as opposed to um, what what I do or what I need to accomplish. It's just an internal conversation I have with myself.
Well, speaking of habit, people, it's the unglamorous machinery of habit, the discipline of showing up on these days of motivation is absent. The construct, the bridge between a single inspired act and lasting change. So, in short, you don't need more motivation. You need a better defaults.
Mm,
Oh,
yeah,
defaults, people, defaults when motivation failed, just
because
like
it will,
habits.
right? Like
Hmm.
it's guaranteed that motivation doesn't stay idling in the red, as I like to say, on the speedometer. Our motivation doesn't always stay revved up into the red zone. Some days my motivation is, hardly getting the car into, the first gear. But um, habits, discipline, consistency, tying your identity to your habits, those all help create forward motion when the emotion of motivation is at its lowest. You may not be productive in the same sense that you were the day before when you were super motivated, but
Yes.
at least you're still moving forward as opposed to becoming stopped or getting into a rut that then the definition of a rut, I heard an old pastor once tell me, a rut is just a grave with both ends kicked out. So you stay in one spot too long, a rut doesn't stay a rut. It turns into a place you stay, and it's very difficult to get out of. So, yeah.
Yes, definitely. So, Mr. Steve, what small commitments build long term trust with yourself?
Um, what small, like you're asking, what small commitments build long-term trust with yourself?
Yes.
Um, I think small commitments like just showing up when energy is low,
Mm-hmm.
um, will help you build trust in yourself, making fewer promises, um, but keeping the ones you do make. So committing yourself to something that is reasonable, as opposed to like when motivation first hits a group, especially myself, I think I can conquer, I'm gonna run 8 podcasts over at Swagability, and I'm gonna help like I can get very pumped up, but then when reality hits and not everyone starts to show up that was helping you get motivated, you're stuck with if you're stuck with an unattainable goal, it becomes pretty miserable. So I think making sure that we tie actions to things that we know we can accomplish. Um, and I would say making sure that you build flexibility into your plans. Um, Flexibility in your plans helps keep motivation alive without pressure. of that rigidness. I need to get this done or else. If you do build some flexity, I think, into those things, um, you're even when you are less motivated, uh, you at least don't feel like you've failed yourself that day. Um, you just call it a day that you've built a little more flexity into what you were trying to accomplish. I think those are good principles.
A good principle for sure. People will build long term trust with yourself is not the grand sweeping vow, but the humble, repeatable promise, the small commitment you cannot break. It is a 5 minute tidy before bed that proves your environment matters. And then pages read that affirm your mind is worth feeding. Okay, interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting indeed. So, Mr. Steve, tell us, what do routines reduce decision fatigue?
Routines are just
Yes.
that. Good routines make it so that we don't spend mental energy trying to come up with a plan every time we need to accomplish them. Um, Making routines doesn't require, uh, a group meeting to get something done. Doesn't make you have to pick up the phone to call your employer because you forget what you're supposed to accomplish. So I think building healthy routines that are have some flexibility built into them, that are tied to an obtainable goal, those are the routines that, that are successful, that at the end of the year, you'll there's no doubt about it, you'll look back and be able to say, "Look at how far we've come. Look at the look at our net profit," or look at our subscribers, or look at what we accomplished as a family. It works in every part of life. Routines, um, are often, different personality traits don't always like routine, but there's no doubt about it. Um, Routines are a a solid pathway that will always lead to progress.
Yes, definitely people routines, habits is something good to us, most especially in our deep situation. It reduces decision fatigue by automating the mundane or preserving finite mental energy for what truly matters. Every choice, no matter how small, from what to where to when to check email depletes the same reservoir for our conscious willpower.
Mm.
Well, empowering answer, Mr. Steve. And tell us, this is our last question. What
Mhm.
breaks consistency more? Over planning or under planning?
Under Well, no, let me think about that. I opened my mouth too quickly. Give me that once more. I wanna give a few more seconds to think about that. What creates
Yes. What breaks consistency more? Over planning or under planning?
I think under planning. I think you can't create routine if you don't have a plan. Like, unless a plan is in place, and you have one almost daily or weekly, you can't develop routines because when motivation starts to wane and fade, you have to rely on routines and habits. But if you don't have plans, then you don't have routines that head towards those plans. Um, and I think over planning, um, can also will lead to disappointment, especially, if you don't hit those targets. And so over planning, I think, can drum up more motivation, but sometimes more motivation is not what we need. We need consistency. So that is my view. Someone might differ with me, but um, I think in making sure that we have a plan in place and we stick to it um, over the long haul and over the long term. It's like what they say in the stock markets, right? It's having a plan um, and staying committed to that plan. It's not reacting every time there's a shift in the markets or a shift, whatever. You overreact and have to plan here. Planning, I think, will over planning creates exhaustion, and exhaustion probably will definitely pull down motivation. And then when motivation's gone, what you have left, you better have routines in place that are healthy habits. That's my take.
Yes, definitely. While both over planning and under planning erode consistency, over planning is more devastating fracture. Under planning fails from lack of direction, or you may stall, but the problem is visible and correctable. Over planning, however, is a silent and creates a rigid protect world system so complex that first unexpected obstacle. Well, another great episode, Mr. Steve, and we need to have this applause for both of us.
That's good.
Thank you for another great episode. And to sum up our discussion for today, Mr. Steve, what was all about?
When motivation is waning or lacks, you better make sure that you have built in uh, strategic habits that are good, that are consistent. Tie your identity to those good habits, and in doing so, uh, you will you will achieve much more um, because when you tie your identity to it, you take pride in what you do. But saying that you just have to get something done or have to accomplish this, um, when motivation wanes, who wants to tackle a job that you've already got in your mind that is a negative? I have to get it done. So positivity, everyone.
Positive people. What builds in long term trust with yourself is not a grand, sweeping vow, but humble, repeatable promise. Baby steps, people, baby steps.
Consistent
And
baby steps.
Mr. Steve, would you like to plug in something?
Yeah, Swagability, we are excited. We had our 5 to Thrive drive. People committing just a small bit, $5, went a long way over the holidays. You can check more out about it at Swagability and over on our YouTube page, Swagability Studios. Thank you, Daniel, for that.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Steve for a good cause. And Modicon people, see you soon.